Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're doing a first impressions and it is on a very new product. I haven't even seen this in any other stores but my local Walgreens today. I just found it, so I wanted to film right away. It's from Neutrogena. It's the Hydra Boost Hydrating Tint, and this just had a lot of claims that I, thought were intriguing, and the packaging kind of caught my eye. And I haven't tried Neutrogena products, any new products that they launched, in such a long time. So I wanted to sit down and test this out. So if you want to see my thoughts and first impressions on this product, then keep watching. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is read from their website so you know the claims that Neutrogena has on this particular product. A new Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint applies flawlessly while instantly quenching skin, leaving skin so hydrated it looks smooth and fresh all day. This foundation moisturizes and plumps skin for 24 hours. It creates a natural, moisturized, and fresh look. It says, with hydrating hyaluronic acid, improves the suppleness of skin over time, oil-free, non-comedogenic, doesn't settle into fine lines, and it's available in 10 blendable shades. So on the website, it does say it's $14.99 for the cost of this foundation. However, at Walgreens, it was $16.99. I don't know what's happening with drugstore products. I understand that they have come a long way with foundation. I mean, there's so many foundations that I love at the drugstore, and they're very comparable to some, higher end ones. But there's a point to why some people want drugstore. You still want a decent foundation, but you don't want to be spending just as much as something that's like Too Faced or Urban Decay. That's kind of not the point. You might as well just go get something from Urban Decay or Too Faced. So I was a little put off by the fact that it was that expensive. However, I will return this if it ends up, stinking. I do have my receipt. So if you ever purchase anything at the drugstore, just return it if you don't like it. They do say the 10 blendable shades. However, my display only had, what, four shades? It was so ridiculous. And there were only one deep one, and it wasn't that deep. It was more of like a tan shade that I would not be able to get away with. I'm way too pale for that. And then they had more nude shades, a little like more for like porcelain skin, but they all had that pink undertone. So the one I picked up was nude 40, and this looks like it could match me. It's more of neutral undertone, I think. Let's get into applying it. I do have a couple brushes. I have the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, which I do like this one. It's very tapered, small, like little stubby brush. And then I do have my Morphe E7 as more of like an angled, more densely packed. I mean, they're very similar, but this one I feel like is a little looser. That's more dense. And then I do have my Real Techniques complexion sponge. Let's get into the packaging. Glass bottle, gorgeous. They always have a very clean, sleek looking packaging. One thing that is different about this compared to a lot of other drugstores is when you open it up, it is an applicator, like a concealer. So this actually already, packaging wise, reminds me of that Clinique one. I'll insert a picture somewhere, but that's what this kind of resembles to me. So I almost wonder if they're trying to do the same thing. This is a little weird. Not the most sanitary because you're going to apply this and then dip it in. So you can just put it on the back of your hand, which is what I'm going to do to just keep this cleaner. I do actually want to put on a primer. I know that maybe some people may think, oh, well, you're not going to get the full effect, but I always wear a primer. So for me, that's how I'm going to truly see how well this foundation works for me. And right now, my go-to for the fall winter months is the Too Faced Hangover, so I am going to apply that. I am just going to give that a minute to sink in before we go in with foundation. So that's sunk into the skin. Like I said, I'm applying this to the back of my hand, and already I've been putting some product on, and I don't like it. I would rather have a pump. It's just kind of annoying. So I'm just going in and trying out the sponge. I feel like the sponge is soaking up a lot of the product. I'm not getting much. I have to keep going back to my hand. So let's try the Real Techniques buffing brush, or expert face brush, I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna have to go from the applicator because it's just absorbing in my hand. I'm not getting really any coverage. I feel like this is supposed to be a lighter coverage, but still. So I'm just gonna go and apply this. I think if you have a lot of active breakouts, maybe avoid it if you are using an applicator like this, but I'm gonna be here all day applying it. So let me go back to that brush. Yeah, I think this is a little better. This is oxidizing on me just a little bit already. My lights are probably washing me out on camera. It's one thing about all these lights when you're filming. You kind of can't sometimes see all the stuff that I can see. I'm going to try the Morphe one. See if more of like a pushing motion. And I'm going to have to take this down my neck. I think that I like this with the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques the best so far. I am going to see, you know, if it builds up, but I don't mind this type of coverage, this light coverage. And then I can go in with concealer because this does look like skin. So yeah, that did build up a little bit, but honestly, I still think this is kind of like a sheer to light medium. So if you want to get more of a sheer application, maybe apply with your fingers, your hands. If you want like a little bit more coverage, kind of use a brush in certain areas to tap in more coverage. And if you want more of that like a little bit closer to medium coverage, then go in fully with a brush and kind of just stipple it, really blend it and push it into the skin and layer up. I don't mind this coverage. Honestly, I think my skin looks very fresh. It does look moisturized. The finish is nice. I do like that. So there is a little plus to this. Let me go ahead and let me finish off the rest of my face, concealer, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be back to kind of talk a little bit more about how everything applied onto this foundation as well. Okay, so I'm back and I have my full face on, as you can see. I have some mixed feelings about this foundation. Let's just get into, you know, how everything applied after. I went in with concealer and I used my Tarte Shape Tape, and I found that I used less product because I was just happy with how my skin looked, that I didn't need to go so crazy with the concealer, even though the foundation is more of a lighter coverage. I don't know what it was. I just put a little bit under my eyes. I kind of dabbed it up to just highlight and lift the eyes a little bit, and I did on my chin just to kind of even out the skin. Because the foundation oxidized so much on my skin, it definitely was more of a tanner version than I usually go for. But once the concealer was evenly placed, it actually works and it looks like it's a perfect match. This concealer and this foundation, they just melted. Obviously, I haven't tried other concealers with this foundation, so I can't speak to that, but the Shape Tape applied beautifully. I think that I do very much like this foundation. First impressions, I don't even know how this is gonna wear. It may break down, it may wear completely off, it may last a long time. I mean, I don't really know. That's the kind of thing about first impressions, is I can't give a full review, but I will update you more on those details. I think the biggest negative part of this is the price tag. Obviously $16.99 is expensive. Next negative thing is probably how it oxidized on my skin. I don't think that that's, you know, it's hard for me to say that that's such a horrible thing, but it is just, it stinks that, you know, you may have a shade at first and then a few minutes later you have a totally different shade. So be aware of that when choosing the color for your skin. I find that actually this ended up working even though it oxidized on me. I can work with it, you know, and I do think it is better to go slightly darker than too light. The shade range is a little bit of a bummer as well. Again, 10 shades may seem like that's a good, you know, selection, but compared to other lines that have 25 or whatever it is, you're not going to be able to get everybody with 10 shades. You're just not. But as far as formula, it is thick and it is a little weird. I find that you're not going to want to use a sponge. For me, my sponge just like soaked up all that product and I was left with nothing on the skin. If you want super sheer coverage, then you can use a sponge. But honestly, I just think it's a lighter finish enough that you don't have to try to sheer it out. Formula just, it blended well on the skin. It really sunk in as well. It has a gorgeous finish. I just can't stop looking at my skin. I'm happy with how this looks. I can't wait to continue using this. Oh, I forgot. I have another negative, the packaging. How did I even forget to talk about that? That is the worst part of this, other than the price. I think that was the number one. This whole doe foot applicator foundation application situation, I kind of rhymed there. Why? Just put it in a pump. People, pump. Why do you do this? Why? I think that's all from me. I would definitely recommend you trying this foundation out if you are, number one, mature. If you have mature skin, I think you would like this. Also, if you are dehydrated, if you have dry skin, even normal skin, I don't know how oily skin would feel, but do consider that even an oily skin can be dehydrated. So always consider that. Test this out. See if you like it. Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or, you know, how you use it. What do you get the best wear? That kind of thing. But this is fairly new. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. So hopefully this is helpful for you if you do start to see this in your local drugstores. Don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, you know where that button lives. And don't forget to also hit that little bell after you subscribe, and you can get notifications. I do upload, so you'll never miss a beat with my videos. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.